slaying.
Shalom, family. Shalom, how y'all doing today? Hope you're blessed and highly favored. A lot of interesting things happening today, yesterday, and tomorrow, I am sure, right? The title of this particular discussion, I ain't going to say necessarily a teaching, even though it has a little teaching in it. You're out of time. And I'm not really talking to the Israelites. I'm talking to the Gentiles. I'm watching this stuff, and I'm like, nobody gets it. Nobody gets it. I mean, Israelites gets it, but you know what I'm saying. And, some of our family members, they still dozing off, sleeping. And this thing, in my opinion, is pretty much over. Let's look at this. Genesis 6:11-13. The earth also was corrupt before Yahuwah, and the earth was filled with violence. And Yahuwah looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted his way upon the earth. And Yahuwah said unto Noah, the end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them, and behold, I will destroy them with the earth. So that's what happened during the time of Noah. Now, my question to you is this. Is the world corrupt? Yes or no? I think that's an easy question. Not only that, right? The second question is the world filled with violence? Remember, the scripture says, as it was in the days of Noah, will be the coming of the Son of Man. Now, I personally, based upon my understanding of the scripture, don't expect the Messiah to physically come back, right? Not right now. In my opinion, at least 800 to 1,000 years before the Messiah returns. That's my opinion. Now, some people are waiting for the Messiah to come back and to bring us back to the land. Now, I'm not saying he's not going to bring us back. I just don't believe he's physically returning right now. Now, the reason why I say that is because a lot of things have to happen. Now, I want to share this, and it's an article I worked on yesterday, and I released. Some of y'all read it, some of y'all don't. Y'all be missing out on a lot of stuff over here. Some of y'all anyway, over here at Tail. But basically, this is our timeline on biblical prophecy and the fulfillment of it, right? So Chronicles of the Awakening, the prophetic journey of Israel's return, the destruction of Jerusalem and the beginning of captivity. So we got these time frames and timelines. They're sort of broad, right? All right, Luke 21:20-24, Deuteronomy 28:64-68. In 70 AD, the Romans destroyed Jerusalem, causing the Israelites to flee into various parts of Africa. This began the fulfillment of the curses of Deuteronomy 28, which includes the Israelites being scattered and taken into captivity. Prophetic fulfillment. The true Israelites, the Negroes, are scattered worldwide, especially into sub-Saharan Africa, fulfilling the prophecy of their exile. The transatlantic slave trade would eventually follow, as foretold by the prophecy of being sent into slavery by ships, Deuteronomy 28:68. All right, so this is sequential. This is based upon the fulfillment of biblical prophecy concerning the Negroes, who are the true Israelites. The time of the Gentiles, 70 AD and ongoing. Luke 21:24, Genesis 9:27. The Israelites are exiled from their true land in sub-Saharan Africa, and Gentile nations dominate them and their identity. This period is marked by Gentile nations ruling over the land of sub-Saharan Africa and claiming the identity of the true Israelites. Prophetic fulfillment, this is the beginning of the time of the Gentiles, during which non-Israelite nations rule over and oppress the true Israelites. You can't tell me this stuff don't fit us. 3, the hunters and the Inquisition, 1400s to the 1600s. Jeremiah 16:16. Yahuwah sends hunters to seek out the Israelites wherever they fled. The Inquisition marks a period of hunting and persecution of the Israelites, particularly those who had fled into Africa, Europe, and other parts of the world. The Inquisition, where Israelites were hunted down, forced into hiding, or subjected to forced conversions, is the fulfillment of Jeremiah's prophecy. This hunting of the Israelites prepared the way for their further scattering and oppression. Number 4, the rise of false Yahudim, 1600s to 1948. During this period, the Khazars increasingly claimed Israelite identity, leading to the establishment of the modern state of Israel in 1948. However, these are not the true descendants of the Israelites, but part of the synagogue of Satan. Prophetic fulfillment, this fulfills the prophecy of false Yahudim who claim to be Israelites, but are not. The true Israelites remain scattered around the world, particularly in sub-Saharan Africa and other regions of the world, awaiting their regathering. Number 5, the height of Israel's captivity, 1619 to the 1800s. Deuteronomy 28, 15 to 68, and Psalm 83, 2 to 4. The height of Israel's captivity coincides with the transatlantic slave trade, where millions of Israelites were forcibly scattered across the globe. This scattering began with the Roman Empire's conquest of Jerusalem in 70 AD, driving the Israelites into Africa and other regions while concealing their true land and heritage. The curses outlined in Deuteronomy 28, including enslavement and loss of identity, culminated during this period. The Romans initiated the scattering, while the Psalm 83 prophecy, which speaks of nations conspiring to erase Israel's identity, found further fulfillment in the Berlin Conference of 1884 to 1885. During this conference, European powers divided Africa for colonialization, fulfilling Joel 3:2, where Yahuwah's land was partitioned among foreign nations. This act of division and exploitation obscured the true identity and heritage of the Israelites, reinforcing their oppression and the loss of their homeland. Number 6, the awakening of Israel, 2015 and ongoing. Around 2015, the true Israelites, the Negroes, begin to awaken to their true identity as the chosen people of Yahuwah. This awakening spreads across the world. The dry bones of Ezekiel 37 begin to come to life as Israelites regain knowledge of their heritage. This marks the beginning of the regathering process as the scattered Israelites start realizing their identity. So y'all didn't know this is the beginning of the regathering process? Number 7, the end of the time of the Gentiles, ongoing. Luke 21:24, Romans 11:25 to 26. As the awakening of the true Israelites continues, the time of Gentile rule over Israel is coming to an end. That's what we're seeing today. Prophetic fulfillment, the awakening signals the closing of the time of the Gentiles, preparing for the restoration of Israel. The true Israelites, scattered worldwide, will be regathered to their true land in sub-Saharan Africa. Number 8, judgment on the nations, ongoing and future. As the awakening continues, judgment is poured out on the nations that oppress the Israelites, especially those involved in the transatlantic slave trade. Now, pay close attention to that, right? Because that's happening now, right? The nations that scattered and oppressed the Israelites face judgment. The rise of African nations like Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, pushing back against foreign dominance, may represent the fulfillment of the 4 craftsmen or carpenters who fight against the nations, the horns that oppressed Israel. Number 9, the regathering of Israel, soon to come. Isaiah 11:11 to 12, Ezekiel 20:33 to 38, Zephaniah 3:10 to 12. Yahuwah begins to regather the Israelites from the 4 corners of the earth. Prophetic fulfillment, the Israelites will be physically regathered to their true land in sub-Saharan Africa. This event will signal the restoration of Israel. The rebellious Israelites will be purged in the wilderness, similar to the first Exodus, Ezekiel 20:33-38. Number 10, Gentiles acknowledge Israel's return and bring them back, future. Isaiah 60, verses 9-12, Isaiah 66, verse 20. As the regathering continues, Gentile nations begin to recognize the true identity of Israel and assist in their return to the promised land. Prophetic fulfillment. Gentile nations, particularly those that enslaved and oppressed the Israelites, bring them back to their land, fulfilling Isaiah 60 and 66. This return is accompanied by material wealth and an acknowledgement of Israel as Yahuwah's chosen people. Number 11, the purging of rebellious Israelites, future. Ezekiel 20:35-38 and Zechariah 13:8-9. In the wilderness, Yahuwah will purge rebellious Israelites who do not follow his commandments. Only the faithful remnant will enter the true promised land. Similar to the Exodus, where rebellious Israelites died in the wilderness, Yahuwah will again test and purge Israel. Only the faithful remnant will enter the restored land. So some people are going to enter in the promised land, some won't, just like Moses didn't get to go in. Number 12, the rise of Israel as a world power. It is future. Isaiah 60, verse 12-22, Micah 4, 1-7. After the regathering and purging, Israel is established as the dominant world power with other nations subject to them. Prophetic fulfillment, the once oppressed Israelites now rule the world, and their land is exalted. Nations that do not serve Israel are destroyed, and Israel becomes the center of Yahuwah's kingdom on earth. Number 13, judgment on the nations and Armageddon, future, right? This isn't Armageddon, what you're looking at, regardless of what the Christians say. The final battle of Armageddon takes place with nations like Gog and Magog, potentially Britain. I believe Gog and Magog could be Britain, all right? Due to their mythological history with the giants, Gog and Magog, attempting to fight against Israel. Prophetic fulfillment. Yeshua, the Messiah, returns, destroys the armies of Gog and Magog, and establishes Yahuwah's kingdom on earth. This final judgment marks the defeat of all enemies of Israel and the beginning of Yahuwah's eternal reign. While some speculate that Russia is Gog, the connection to Britain's ancient ties with Gog and Magog makes Britain a possible candidate for Gog as well. Now, there's some connections between Gog and the Germans and, them folks in the Middle East. But I'm not going to get into that. So if you see this timeline, this is what it is, right? You see there's a bunch of things that has to happen in between, right? So what we're seeing today is not Armageddon. What we're seeing today is not the battle of Gog and Magog. What we're seeing today is a false Armageddon, more than likely to bring in a false Messiah and a false utopia. So if you go through these scriptures and you go through this timeline, you will see that what's happening can't be fulfilled right now, that the Messiah, who some call Christ, is not about to return yet. Because think about it. If Yeshua came today and he brought us back physically, right? None of this middle stuff gonna happen. Antichrist not gonna come. You're not gonna have all of this, this turmoil that we see today, right? And the formation of the 10. You won't have that if Yeshua came to bring us back to the land. That's why I'm telling you. Some people don't know what they're talking about. Some people don't understand prophecy. Here you have the timeline. So I'm gonna put this link in there if y'all want to go read it, and you can do your own research and see how the prophetic timeline is going to be. Is I mean, I could get more detail oriented if I wanted to, but y'all get it. We got tons of teaching on it. Been teaching, for what? I don't know how many years now. So don't think this is the rise of Yeshua's kingdom, that Yeshua is going to return, because I know some people teach that they're wrong, right? And you can go through these scriptures and see why they're wrong, all right? So Tell Ministries has a reason for the madness, right? We got a reason for our beliefs. We got a reason for our position on end times, right? All right. All right. So somebody want to know my book coming out. I'm working on it. That's all I can tell you. At first, I was just pressing. And every time I clean up, edit, pressing. Always something to change. Then when I try to go and publish it, it's not in the correct format, right? So now I'm trying to find somebody who could help me. Went to Brother Cares. He bumped it back to me. So now I'm working on it. And it's just going to take me a while. And if it gets out, it gets out. If it don't, it don't. That's how it is. All I can say is, in my opinion, I'd improve That's Our Land. I'd improve that Axum is Jerusalem. I'd improve. Look, I even found the Temple Mount. So I'm convinced. That's all I can say. Now, hopefully I get this book out, do the ebook and let it ride. I'm thinking about it. Y'all pray about that, because that's a possibility. We'll see how it goes. Maybe I'll do that and just push it out. But here's the thing. When the system goes down, you're going to want a hard copy, right? I mean, most people would want a hard copy to keep with them. But I don't know. I got to pray about that. Y'all pray about it too, because I don't think we have a lot of time. Now, the Gentiles are in trouble. And there was some other video. I mean, look, let me put it this way. I remember Brother Kara say, we're going to get to the point where there's just too much information to talk about. We're there. Right, Brother Karras? Wouldn't you agree with me? We're at the point I can't even report on the stuff that's out there. Right? It's too much. And most people still don't get it. It's over. That's my opinion. Right? That's my opinion. It's over. I don't care. You go, you come and say it's over. He causing fear. That's that fear doctrine. I only tell you what I see. That's all I do. I told you, this is a truth ministry. I'm not here to please nobody but the Most High. I know some of y'all think this is our homeland, and this you're gonna be here, and you're gonna stay here in your homeland. Well, you stay here. This place is over. I don't care what you say. If you can't see this is over, I'm sorry. I mean, that's what I see. Okay, y'all better hope I'm wrong. That's all I gotta say. Y'all better hope I'm wrong, because it's over. That's my opinion. I ain't setting no dates and no times, right? Because they like to do that, right? They like to get you on that. I ain't setting no dates and the time, but based upon what I see, unless there's a miracle, and the Most High say we would have healed Babylon, but she's not. I'm not expecting a miracle for Babylon to be saved. Okay? It's just my opinion, but let's get into this. So, black man found dead against tree with rope around his neck in North Carolina. Not a lynching, sheriff says. Oh, another brother who likes to take a rope and hang it around his neck. Brothers don't like ropes, dude. But anyway, they keep telling us it's not a lynching, right? The investigation into a Chicago man's death in North Carolina continues as questions and rumors surrounding it grows, especially on social media. Javion McGee, a 21-year-old truck driver from Chicago, was found dead in a rural area off Vanco Mill Road on Wednesday. Investigators said he was not far from his truck, leaning with his back up against a tree and a rope around his neck. Really, his back up against the tree and a rope around his neck. McGee was in Henderson making a delivery to the Walmart distribution center. So this dude on a job, but then he decided, you know what, I'm going to go and just take this rope and put it around my neck, right? McGee's family, who lives in Chicago, is upset and demanding answers. They're calling for transparency and more answers from the Vance County Sheriff's Office about what happened. On Friday, Sheriff Curtis told ABC his office was conducting a death investigation. Bram told ABC that there were no signs of foul play. Yeah, because it was the popo, right? There were no signs of foul play in McGee's death, he said. McGee went to a nearby Walmart shortly before he died. That is where he's believed to have bought the rope found around his neck. When ABC asked more about that, Bram declined to elaborate. In response to social media rumors, the sheriff continued to reiterate that McGee's death was not a lynching. Okay, so he decided to get up in the morning and put on his shoes and put on his clothes and go to work and deliver some loads. Then he said, you know what? I think this is a good idea for me to go into Walmart and buy a rope so I could put it around my neck, right? Usually people who are about to do something like that, first of all, black folks ain't going to choose no rope. Secondly, even if he did choose a rope, right? The homeboy not going to get up that day and all of a sudden decide he going to put a rope around his neck, right? You usually see signs, they were depressed. They were, moping and crying over the loss of a loved one, or they lost all their money, or they were sick. You know what I'm saying? Just come on now. It don't make no sense. But guess what? Every time they see a brother with a rope around his neck, it's not foul play. You know why? Because America gonna look like the evil racist, that they are. Right? So the Most High says that he's not going to suffer us to stay here no more. All right. But guess what? They're getting it in spades, right? They're getting payback in spades. But anyway, let's just continue.
Apparently yesterday, multiple gunmen walked up to a group of people and started open firing on them, killing 4 people in Birmingham, Alabama, and injuring dozens of others. And the media is trying to cover something up because why are the races of the people that were shot not being disclosed? Now, the place that this happened was a predominantly black area of nightlife, and not like a street party like downtown near the University of Alabama. But yet, for some reason, in these articles, they are trying to allude to the fact that this may have been a hate crime. They are not giving out any information about the suspects, as well as saying that they have not identified any of the persons involved in these shootings. But what they did say was they thought that at first it was one person with a switch. Then the police officers go on to say that, oh, this isn't a criminal thing, this is a cultural thing. What's so disgusting is I've watched this story change 3 times since 6 this morning. And as you can see, first they said one person fired shots into a nightclub, which is false. Then they changed it to what really happened, which was multiple gunmen shot into a group of people in a popular entertainment district. They were saying that they believed that the shooting was not random and stemmed from an isolated incident where multiple victims were caught in the crossfire. But how can people walk up on a crowd of people and just shoot out of nowhere? They have looked through every single article and even the interview that was live, and they will not say the race of the 22 plus people that were harmed and the 4 people that are now unalived. This is something that is being covered up because of E-Day, and they don't want us to know what really happened. I really think they're trying to cover up the races because this was a hate crime.
I told you, hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy, right? Dozens of suspected white supremacist gang members arrested in Los Angeles area in domestic terrorism investigation. A total of 68 suspected gang members with ties to white supremacy were charged in the Los Angeles area Wednesday in a large-scale takedown, federal prosecutors said. The Peckerwood gang members and associates were charged in a sweeping federal indictment, which included allegations of racketeering, firearms trafficking, drug trafficking, and financial fraud, according to officials. The federal charges announced Wednesday did not include allegations of an impending planned attack. But Martin Estrada, the U.S. Attorney for the Central District of California, said, this group has as its mission to plan attacks against racial, ethnic, religious minorities. We're not going to wait for the next tragedy to take action. More than 40 of the suspected members and associates of the Peckerwood gangs were arrested Wednesday or were already in custody in what was one of the largest takedowns in the history of the Department of Justice against a neo-Nazi white supremacist violent extremist organization, Estrada said. The arrests involved multiple federal and local law enforcement tactical officers, including the Joint Terrorism Task Force and resources brought in from the FBI's hostage rescue team, a source previously told CNN. The Peckerwood gang is based in Los Angeles, San Fernando Valley, and is essentially a local chapter of the Aryan Brotherhood, said Akil Davis, the FBI's assistant director in charge of Los Angeles field office. They engage in a wide variety of criminal activity, including drug trafficking, fraud, violence, identity theft, the U.S. attorney said. In aligning themselves with the Aryan Brotherhood, local gang members are able to commit a variety of crimes on the outside and give money to their incarcerated counterparts, Estrada said. The gang also benefits from the Brotherhood's alliance with the Mexican mafia, giving them greater freedom to commit crimes on the outside, Estrada said. Added, what truly distinguishes them, what defines them, is their hate and their animus toward racial, ethnic, and religious minorities. A previously arrested member made online threats against Jews, and hateful messages were found at his home. The gang embraces the name Peckerwoods, which Estrada described as a previously used derogatory name for Caucasians in the prison system. The group displays their affiliation with neo-Nazi ideology through tattoos, clothing on social media, and collect Nazi paraphernalia, including swastikas and Confederate flags. During the investigation, law enforcement seized large quantities of illegal firearms, bomb-making components, and dozens of pounds of fentanyl, methamphetamines, and heroin, officials said. If convicted as charged, the defendants face a maximum sentence of life in federal prison, according to U.S. the Attorney's Office for the Central District of California. So you got the Peckerwoods there looking to start some trouble. It's real interesting that the Bible says kingdom against kingdom. We have that happening, right? Russia, Ukraine. We have U.S., Israel, Iran, Lebanon. Kingdom against kingdom. We have ethnic group against ethnic group, right? They hanging us from trees. They pew-pewing us. They doing all kind of stuff. But hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy, right? Ain't nothing to see here. Ain't nothing to see here. So this situation, this plan, this conspiracy, all of this hatred for the true Israelites, right? Been going on a long time. Now, I want to show this because I'm going somewhere with this. So Gentiles, is y'all done? I'm like, I ain't got nothing else to say.
Was a term that was used by British social workers to describe a phenomenon that occurred in Britain after the Second World War, whereby the Nigerian immigrants coming to Britain would foster or farm their children out to white working class families. We're talking thousands of Nigerian children all over Britain, in order so that they could work and study. And the idea was that once they'd accomplished what they set out to do, graduated, saved enough money, they would then collect their children and return to their native homes. That practice became known as farming. And I was farmed at the age of 6 weeks old to a white couple in the southeast of England, about an hour and a half outside of London. The film, with the same title, follows my journey under that process.
This was unique to Great Britain.
It was. It's peculiar only to Britain and peculiar to only the Nigerian immigrants, because at the time, Britain was going through an economic recession, and it called upon its colonies, the West Indies, India, and Africa, to come and help rebuild it. So it was kind of like an expedient labor force.
So how old were you when you were taken to this white couple?
6 weeks old.
And how old were you when you left?
16. You can imagine at 6 weeks old, my white foster family were my family. My two siblings were with me, and within the house, there were another about 7 or 8 other Nigerian children from other families. So we all considered ourselves as a family, and our foster families as our parents. And I just grew up there, as you would in Britain during the 70s. The big difference, of course, being the area where we were placed, which was a town called Tilbury Town, was notoriously racist, and they'd never been exposed to Black children or Black people at all. So we were the first Blacks to be, placed in that environment. So it was a very racist right-wing town.
So human trafficking been going on a long time, and us being caught up in this Babylonian system with a Babylonian mind, didn't realize that people were still being trafficked, right? Our people being trafficked. And now you understand why the Most High is so angry with them folks. They never stopped. You thought you was free, but you ain't free. You never been free. Okay, they didn't lie. They didn't gaslight us, telling you was free. Here's Juneteenth. No, you ain't never been free. And they've been trafficking your children the whole time. All right. So this is why the Most High is angry. Now, Israel, globally, I told you about Micah 5:8. Israel is waking up. Look, if you can't see what's happening, things are different. Things are different. Our people not passive anymore. Our people not just sitting down and taking it.
Stay. If not, anyway. Listen up, my melanated copper color people. There is a war brewing all over the world right now, and things are heating up everywhere. From Israel to Palestine, Russia to Ukraine, and even right here at home in America, conflict is running rampant. Countries like France are attempting to reestablish the colonial grip on nations like Nigeria, Burkina Faso, and the Ivory Coast. Every conflict seems to be rooted in imperialism and colonization. Meanwhile, here in America, we found ourselves grappling with the harsh reality of our tax dollars funding these wars abroad, while many of us can't even keep a roof over our heads or food on the table. We understand money is being scarce right now because of all that. And the other thing that's happening is hate is being directed at us from white supremacy. So white supremacy is on the rise, with no laws in place to protect us specifically as Black individuals. So, in response, our community is finally coming together now, understanding that we are a one nation, wherever we are, and we are going to take matters into our own hands now. We are embracing self-determination, forming our own military, recruiting heavily, and preparing for war against hate in America. The U.S. is facing a multitude of issues here, and it's largely because there is no understanding of how to play fair. They thrive on supremacy over everyone, over nations, and even over their own people, manipulating white people to go against Black people. So let's be clear. The Black man's war, the Black people's war, is not war against white people. It is against white supremacy and the notion of supremacy over any group, period. Change is coming, and it's happening as we speak. We must be ready for the fire that's burning all around this world, which is poised to ignite here as well. Haitians have had their turn with the French. Kenyans have faced their own governments. Now, my melanin and copper color people everywhere, it's time we gather and organize. I'm talking about full-on self-determination. This means creating businesses to generate resources, buying and selling from one another, establishing systems to repair our credit and gain access to funds through business credit and to support all our projects. Every single last one of our projects is being supported. So my game plan is this, for us, is to be self-determined, self-sustained, and financially empowered. We must protect ourselves through trust, wills, and life insurance with cash value, with our businesses funding all of it. So my people, let's get our money up. Let's grow and show the world our power. It's time to rise and blow this system up because it's up and it's stuck. Let's go.
All right. So there's a different mindset within the Israelite community globally. Now, here's the thing, right? They will force you into a corner where you don't have any choice but to stand together. But what we don't realize is that the goal here is to continue, right, causing separation or polarization. And I'm of the opinion there's really no way to stop that, right? Because as I showed you earlier, right, you have the white supremacist groups that are making plans to do things to us. You have white supremacist popos who I think are the ones with the ropes, right? uh, we're pushed to the point where this is going to happen regardless, which is why the scripture talks about ethnic group against ethnic group. There is no stopping this, right? It is prophecy. All right. So what happens is the way the system is today, they run what they call the Hegelian dialectic, right? And the dialectic was created by a guy named Hegel. Basically, it's order out of chaos, right? I implement the problem and I also implement the solution, right? The problem being today, violence. The problem being today, racism. The problem being today, we being hung from trees. The problem being today, we're being discriminated against. The problem being today that the economy is crashing. The problem being today that everyone's going to be fighting for scraps. Okay. But the scriptures warned us, right? Go read Matthew chapter 24. Right? We are there, right? Kingdom against kingdom, ethnic group against ethnic group. That's where we're at. But here's the thing. It can't be stopped. It can't be stopped. The Bible says it's going to happen and we see it happening and it will come to pass. Now, whether or not you think this is a psychological operation, which I believe, as I said from the beginning, all of this is scripted. Everything is scripted, right? I believe that. Everything is scripted. Right. But what do you do when you're in the midst of the play? What do you do when you're one of the people who's on the stage? Right. But you didn't plan to be on the stage. Right. I wasn't hired to be in this play, but you put me in the midst of this play regardless. What do you do when you were on the set? Right. And they create the characters and the environment and everything around you. And you got to respond because you're in the midst of the play. You're in the middle of the play. You didn't write the script. You didn't want to be a part of the script, but now you're a part of the script. What do? You know that somebody else wrote the play. You know somebody else wrote the script. And they forced you to participate in the play that you didn't want to participate in. But you're going to have to participate. This is where we're at. Everything's a lie. Didn't I tell you that? In the Bolder Than a Lion video, everything is a lie. Everything a lie. You can't trust nobody but the Most High. I told you. We are in some dangerous times. And I'm telling you right now, based upon what I'm seeing, based upon my spiritual discernment, this is over. Now, whatever that means, right? What does it mean, Jacoba, that is over? Think about what I mean. Okay? You know what I mean. But here's the thing. Just let me do this because I wish I could find this other video. But anyway, let me play this.
All right, guys, just to give you an understanding of the devastation we're dealing with here. Chimney Rock's gone. Flying Bridge is gone. And the fucking road's gone. So I don't know what they're going to do to get us out of here, but we got to figure it out. Because this shit's crazy.
Yes.
They on their porch watching us like a spectacle.
All right. So the question is, where was the young man I showed in the beginning hung from? What state was he in? Anybody have a guess? They wonder why they're flooding. They're wondering why their homes are destroyed. Are they wondering? Yes. Sundown State, North Carolina. So they're wondering why all of this is happening. So there was this other video. I couldn't find it. I wanted to show it. So they had this woman, and she was talking about what's happening in North Carolina, right? And also Tennessee is having issues too, another area with huge racist problems, right? And she was saying how when they went up there, they smelled this smell. And all they could smell was hundreds and hundreds of dead bodies. That's what she said. Whole bunch of people not here no more. But hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. So she was saying that the stench was awful. And they're wondering why this is happening. Did I not warn them? Yes or no? Did I not warn them? Did I not tell them it was too late? Did I not tell them that their judgment is set? They're not going to listen. They don't listen. The Most High is not playing. Second Ezra, he says he's not going to leave us here no more because of what they're doing to us. I told y'all, we in the midst of warfare and don't even know it. But what did the Most High say? He said, with fury poured out and with outstretched arm, I'm going to deliver you. Did he not say that, family? Give me a 1 if he said that. Give me a 2 if he didn't. He said, with fury poured out and outstretched arm, I'm going to deliver you. What do y'all think is happening? Are we making stuff up? We're not making this up. We just know the word. And you all know that the Most High is a righteous Elohim, and he is not going to let you continue to do what you do to us and not get paid back in spades. Double to y'all.
Βερβαίνει. Η φωτιά έχει φτάσει μέσα στη θάλασσα.
Still waiting on that pre-trib rapture? When that's going to happen? When y'all going to be caught on out of here before everything gets bad? I just want to know. If y'all correct about the pre-tribulation rapture, how come you still here? How come people being deleted? How come people drowning? How come people about to starve? How come the economy shutting down? Y'all want to know what's happening? You're being manipulated. You're being set up. Order out of chaos. What's happening is they want to make it so painful for you that when the New World Order comes in with their chipping plan and their lollipops and everything and their social credit tracking systems, in order to get back to normal, you will give up everything. They're going to make you what? What did I say? What did I say? What did I say 2024 was going to be? Come on now. What did Mr. T say? What is your prediction? Pain. Did I not say that? Pain. There's a lot of stuff going on, and the world ain't ready for it. Israel bombed an arms depot at the Russian Kamenem base. Early in the morning on October 3rd, there were reports of an Israeli airstrike targeting a weapons warehouse at the Russian Kamenem base near Latakia in Syria. These reports emerged from several conflicting sources. A notable mention by Abdullah al-Musa in his X account stated that Syrian TV sources alleged the Israeli airstrike was aimed at a warehouse within a Russian base. Ooh, a Russian base, not a Syrian base. The purported reason for this was linked to the arrival of an Iranian cargo plane from Qasem Forest Airlines. Now, that plane is supposed to have been a humanitarian plane for people in Lebanon and Gaza and stuff like that, right? So now, them people in the Middle East provoking the Russians. I'm just asking, what you think gonna happen now? Putin is long, he a patient dude, right? But he's no weak dude. Putin is not weak. He's patient, but he's not weak. What you think gonna happen? I'm just asking. You think we got time left? You think we got another year, 2, 3, 5? What was the prediction of the Deagle report? Anybody? Anybody know what the prediction of the Deagle report? If you don't know what the Deagle report is, give me a 2. The Deagle report seems to be right on time, right? This whole time frame that people called Armageddon is not Armageddon. It's vengeance. It's vengeance. Y'all don't know what the Deagle report is? I thought everybody knew what the Deagle report was. Well, let me tell you what the Deagle report is. The Deagle report, and I got a video on it. You could go watch it. Say by 2025, the population in America is going to be down, I think, like 100 million? You know how many we got right now? 350 million in America. The Deagle report says that every Western country, their population is going to be reduced by at least a third. That's the Deagle report. Think we on time, on schedule for that to come to fruition? Seems like everything's working right on time, just as they predicted. Seems like things happening where you're going to get that amount of reduction. So y'all got to stay up on the news. Y'all got to stay up on this channel. Y'all need to go to our websites if you want to stay informed, because guess what? Y'all out of time. The Deagle report is coming to pass. Whether it be through famine, war, plagues, sicknesses, right? Can we say revelation? Can we say the 4 horsemen? I'm just saying, I don't understand how people so nonchalant and carefree when you better make sure you prepared to meet your God. You better make sure you prepared to meet your Elohim. Y'all still don't know how many people are already gone. Everybody was laughing at us when we talked about after 2019, all hell will break loose. Well, Jacoba, you still here. You predicted that we will be gone by 2019. No, I didn't. Go watch my video. I told it. They keep gaslighting, right? I said that the nations must be judged first. Then we go. But they don't want to say that, right? They like to gaslight. They like to tell half truths. They like to lie.
War against Lebanon, but they're forgetting something. Lebanon can fight back. Not only that, but they got a whole bunch of friends in the region that are going to come and help them too. Even Israeli news is admitting, and they're watching, there's 40,000 volunteer troops from the entire region that are all going to Lebanon to help Lebanon fight that war against Israel. There's volunteers from Yemen, there's volunteers from Iraq, there's volunteers from Syria, from the whole region, and they're coming in more and more. Israel may have air dominance, but when it comes to ground forces military, that's where they're not strong at all. They got mostly young kids right out of high school. That's the vast majority of their military. A bunch of kids forced to be in the military. And they're going up against a whole bunch of people that for 76 years have been putting up with a lot. And they've lost a lot. And they're coming for revenge. Israel has really painted itself into a corner, and now their karma is coming.
Ain't nothing to see here. See, I told you what's happening there is a fake Armageddon. Fake Armageddon, fake people, fake land, fake Messiah. Now, if this channel gets shut down, just go straight over to Rumble because I'm streaming live at Rumble right now. See, everybody want to act like everything is copacetic, and it's not. Them ports shut down, you're going to be hungry. This is that base in Syria. That Israel attack that belonged to the Russians. So where do you think this is going to go? Where do you think this is going to go? I'm just asking. We are in the midst of some trouble. Some trouble. We be in trouble, y'all. I ain't in no trouble. I'm trusting the Most High. All I'm saying is, better have your mind on, right? Better stop ignoring the signs, right? The people who ignore the signs get caught up in it. There ain't gonna be no war, Jacoba. There ain't gonna be no World War III. This is the vengeance of the Most High.
I'm setting up a new direct route for cyber military recruits. Because if you're a top gamer or a coder, your country needs you.
I have to say that we have to live in such a surreal world where the military is actively trying to recruit gamers into combat now. I mean, this is going way beyond any kind of collaboration between Mountain Dew and Call of Duty. This is a whole other level. Primarily right now, inside of the United States, as well as Britain, you are seeing a large push specifically to recruit gamers because of their ability to be utilized with drone warfare. If there is anything that the modern Russo-Ukrainian war has shown, it is just how incredibly valuable drones are. And while AI can do a lot, there are certain things that really only a human touch can do, and on top of that, there are only certain people that are really capable of using drones in such a way to be remarkably effective. It has gotten to a point now where it is not just drones, but there is other military tech that specifically utilizes something that is almost like an Xbox controller in order to be able to handle the system. And that is honestly insane. Honestly, with the way things are going, I would not be surprised if either the United States or Britain started state-sponsoring video games in order to be able to put out propaganda or different kind of training methods. North Korea already has been doing this for developing games specifically to teach children to hate Americans in the first place.
Well, they've been doing that since games came out on the Xbox. They were already conditioning the children and my generation to fly drones and to be a part of military campaigns. And, this is nothing new. Now it's being spoken of. Conditioning through gaming, conditioning through movies. But everybody want to act like they're not being conditioned. Just as everybody is conditioned to hate the black man, the true Hebrew Israelites, but everybody act like they're not being conditioned. We're in the midst of a complex dialectic. Now, in this dialectic, you would think that we're going to enter into a wartime economy. But I don't think it's going to be as obvious as it would have been. A war economy or wartime economy is the set of contingencies undertaken by a modern state to mobilize its economy for war production. Philip Le Billon describes a war economy as a system of producing, mobilizing, and allocating resources to sustain the violence. Some measures taken include the increasing of interest rates, as well as the introduction of resource allocation programs. Approaches to the reconfiguration of the economy differ from country by country. Many states increase the degree of planning in their economies during wars. In many cases, this extends to rationing, and in some cases to conscription for civil defenses, such as the Women's Land Army and Bevan Boys in the United Kingdom. During World War II, during total war situations, certain buildings and positions are often seen as important targets by combatants. The Union blockade, Union General William Tecumseh, Sherman's march to the sea during the American Civil War, and the strategic bombing of enemy cities and factories during World War II are all examples of total war. Now, I'm of the opinion you're not going to see the typical war economy. Something else you're not going to see: martial law. Martial law is the replacement of civilian government by military rule and the suspension of civilian legal processes for military powers. Martial law can continue for a specified amount of time or indefinitely, and standard civil liberties may be suspended for as long as martial law continues. Most often, martial law is declared in times of war and or emergencies such as civil unrest and natural disasters. Alternatively, martial law may be declared in instances of military coup d'etat. So with all of this, why wouldn't I expect martial law? Why wouldn't I expect a wartime economy? Because it's never going to be stated as such, right? It's never going to be stated as such. And so what you're going to see is this movement for rationing, but it's never going to be declared as such. What do you mean by that, Yaakov? Well, remember in the past, we had executive orders, but never went to a martial law situation like during 9/11. It will never happen. They will never do that. They will never get you in a state of readiness. They will never get you in a state of, I'm on my own, right? They want you to be a part of the system and keep the system involved. They want you to be a part of the Babylonian system where there's still people subservient to the laws, people who are subservient to the police, people who are subservient to paying their taxes, people who are subservient to all of the things that keep the system moving. And how do you accomplish such thing? How do you not declare martial law? How do you not declare that we're in a wartime economy, even though we are? Dock workers at ports from Maine to Texas go on strike, a standoff risking new shortages. So how do I force rationing? Oh, the ports are shut down. Oh, food not coming in. Oh, some of the items that we're so used to, we can't get access to it, right? Dock workers at ports from Maine to Texas began walking picket lines early Tuesday in a strike over wages and automation that could reignite inflation and cause shortages of goods if it goes on more than a few weeks. Now, didn't I tell you that all of this is scripted? Did I not tell you that? This is social engineering. This is manipulation. This is AI putting out scenarios to manage and control the populace. So the contract between the ports and about 45,000 members of the International Longshoremen Association expired at midnight. And even though progress was reported in talks on Monday, the workers went on strike. The strike, affecting 36 ports, is the first by the union since 1977. Workers began picketing at the port of Philadelphia shortly after midnight, walking in a circle at a rail crossing outside the port and chanting, "No work without a fair contract." So how do I implement martial law? How do I implement a wartime economy without declaring it's a wartime economy? How do I implement rationing when I'm not going to tell you that we're rationing? We have a lack of food because of the protests at the ports, things not coming in. So we're going to have to ration out, even though they're not going to say rationing, right? Your stores are going to have less, right? The government's going to have more, but the stores are going to have less. What do you think was happening during the time of the salmonella outbreaks and all of these problems with the food supply? All of that was being put in a nice, safe area for the rest of the people and not for you. That's what was happening. Y'all don't get it, right? It's a dialectic. These people smarter than us, right? They're smarter than us. But if you had the spirit, you know what's going on. Everybody's being manipulated. We are in trouble. You're in the wartime economy, though you don't know it. You're in a martial law situation, though it's never going to be called martial law. You are in a situation where they're going to monitor and control you or censor you, right? Just as the things that you see during the time of martial law. It's going to happen, but it's never going to be called that. We in trouble.
October 1st, 2024. You want to know why the ILA is on strike right now? Here, go ahead and watch.
Today, they make billions and billions of dollars. They make, MSC is the richest shipping company in the world, made 3 times the money than Amazon. A lot of money, right? Billions. Well, one of the companies, and I won't mention his name, he took himself a Christmas bonus, $4 billion. He took it out for him and his family, $4 billion. A French company, I won't mention their name, they gave all their employees 50 months salary as a Christmas gift. Now, look at that money. They have so much money, they don't even know what to do with it. They know they're building up terminals. They want to go automation. They want more money now. Get rid of these men. We don't need them no more. It's a big change going on. I've been fighting automation for years. They destroyed LA. They put a fully automated terminal at the Merce line. 800 longshoremen lost their jobs. If it was up to them, they would like to see everybody lose their jobs. Let me tell you, it's not just in the longshore. They got ships in Europe that they're building. They got one now, runs on a battery, container ship. No crew. Somebody in an office building runs it. Goes out, goes in. They don't want anybody. They don't want to pay anybody. It's not only this union, it's in every union in every aspect. If they keep putting machinery to take our jobs, who's going to pay the income tax? Machines are not. Who's going to pay for the military, the roads? Everything runs by taxes. Take Easy Pass. The first time they came out with Easy Pass, 1 lane, and cars were going through and everybody's sitting in their car and go, what's that all about? I'm going to get one of them. Today, all those union jobs are gone and it's all Easy Pass. People don't realize it. Everybody's got 3 cars. Everybody got an Easy Pass on the window. And they go through like it's nothing. And they get billed in the mail. They didn't care about that union worker working in the booth. You go.
So is everything he's saying true? Yes, it's true. It is true. Everything he's saying is true. But guess what? Do you think you can stop automation? Can you stop advancement of technology? No, you cannot. Can you stop the implementation of AI? No, you cannot. Just as when Easy Pass came, right? You cannot stop the implementation of technology. It's not going to happen. So what's the point? What's the point? And I'm going to show you what I think is happening, but let's continue.
Yo, somebody get these people their money. These longshoremen or the people that's on the docks or the ports are currently shut down. And if this problem isn't fixed within the next couple hours or days, inflation is going to be through the roof on vehicles, goods, foods, anything that's coming in. See, what's happening is America is looking over there at China and they completely automated their ports. Yo, check this video out. This is what they want the United States to look like.
You can't stop automation. Not going to happen. We are in the time of the coming false utopia. We are in the time of the coming world governmental system. It's here. We are in a time where most of the world is not going to be here anymore, according to the scriptures. We are in a time of Revelation chapter 6. But remember, I told you, it's all scripted. It's sort of like with the Easy Pass example he was given, right? Because I remember when the Easy Pass was implemented in Texas. Now, the reason Easy Pass was implemented is because they had tolls. And the tolls was to pay for the bridges. But if you didn't have the tolls, you wouldn't need Easy Pass. But yet the excuse was we need the tolls to pay for the bridges. Now, there's other ways to get your money from the populace to pay for the bridges, right? But now you got a control mechanism that everyone has to go through, that it scans your license plates and it sees who's in there, where you're going, who's with you, and all this stuff, and tracking you without you realizing that you're being tracked. So the excuse was that it's for the bridges and paying for the bridges, but the reality is it's for global mass tracking of people and where they're going and where they've been. See, most people can't see we in trouble. We are in the New World Order. We are in the Antichrist system. We are in the book of Revelation. I don't care what you say. Hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. But as I mentioned, it's all scripted. You're part of a play. You're in the midst of a world manipulation, dialectic, project, psyop, whatever you want to call it. We're all in the middle of a global psyop. Union boss who threatened to cripple economy lives in luxury 7,000 square foot mansion. Harold Daggett, the union boss, the one who I had speaking earlier, who had vowed to cripple the U.S. economy if ports don't ban automation and raise dock workers' wages sharply, had a Bentley convertible parked outside his sprawling mansion in New Jersey this week. Exclusive photos obtained by the Post reveal. Photos taken by drone on Tuesday showed a British luxury car parked with its top up outside what appears to be a 5-car garage that's connected to his 7,000 square foot Tudor-style home by a covered skyway. The hulking 2-story mansion, located on a 10-acre property in Sparta, A leafy enclave 50 miles west of New York City encircles a spacious backyard patio with an amoeba-shaped pool. A covered outdoor bar is situated next to what appears to be a massive brick pizza oven. A gate on the far side of the patio opens toward what looks like a freestanding sauna surrounded by a spacious wooden deck. An expansive swath of forest surrounds the property on all sides. The posh compound is nestled in a picturesque section of the Garden State near the Delaware Water Gap, where 5-bedroom homes list for as much as $6 million, according to Zillow. One realtor who spoke to the Post said that Daggett put the 4-bedroom, 6.5-bathroom property on the market in 2004 at a listing price of $3.1 million before reducing it to $2.9. He eventually took it off the market. Daggett, who fought back federal accusations of having mafia ties, became president of the International Longshoremen's Association in 2011. A job that comes with a salary of $728,000 annually on top of an additional $173,000 from ILA Local 1804-1. In 2005, he was accused of steering union benefit contracts to firms that paid kickbacks to organized crime at a Brooklyn trial, the Wall Street Journal reported. Daggett took the witness stand that year after federal prosecutors charged him and 2 others with racketeering. He described himself as a target of the mob, though a turncoat mafia member had testified. Daggett was a member of the Genovese crime family, the New York Times reported. During the course of the trial, one of Daggett's co-defendants, Lawrence Ricci, an alleged Genovese associate, disappeared. His body was found weeks later decomposing in the trunk of a car outside of a New Jersey diner. Ricci's death remained unsolved, though speculation circulated that he was killed after refusing to plead guilty to avoid news reports of the trial. Daggett was acquitted along with other co-defendants. The 78-year-old boss, who is often seen in public sporting a polo shirt and a chunky gold medallion around his neck while casting himself as a staunch advocate for blue-collar workers, also previously owned a 76-foot yacht, according to reports. Now, y'all know the history of the mob, right? I ain't gonna say nothing, but I'm gonna say it. Who controls the mob? I'm just asking. Y'all know. I ain't gonna say nothing else. Who controls the mob? Once again, the ports are shutting down as a means to implement rationing, as a means to implement an indirect form of martial law, a means to implement a new wartime economy while they go to war, which is why they also took all of that money sent to Ukraine, right? And remember, don't forget the Deagle report, right? All of this is scripted. All of this is scripted. That's why when I tell you we're in trouble, we're in trouble. Satan has taken over the world. Satan controls the system. There's no rights anymore. There's no freedom anymore, even though most of that was an illusion, especially for the black man, right? For the black man, we ain't never really had no rights anyway. They say we were citizens, but we didn't have the protection of the Constitution, obviously. I told you, we're out of time. The Deagle report is going to come to pass. That's what it looks like. 2025. So we have all of that, right? And remember, I said we're going to be in a wartime economy, though it's not going to look like a wartime economy because they're never going to say it's a wartime economy, even though it is. They're never going to say we're in martial law, even though we are. Makes you wonder why Amazon firing people, right? No, I don't wonder. The ports are shut down, isn't it? What does Amazon do? They deliver packages, don't they? So more than likely, we can surmise that what's going to happen is that the ports are not going to open back up. We can surmise that the prices are going to go up. We can surmise that things are going to be rationed. We can surmise that the things that you're used to getting, you're not going to get anymore. You can forget trying to get, that beef bacon that you like. You can forget trying to get avocados. You can forget a lot of things that we're so used to, right? It's all by design. But hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. So we have the port shutting down. We have Amazon workers getting fired. We have new laws being passed. We have the Israelites being hung from trees. And they say, guess what? Nothing to see here. We have companies shutting down your moolah. And we have this change in the world, right? Especially in Texas.
Business is booming so much in Texas. We now have our own exchange traded fund. It's a basket of stocks of only Texas companies. A stock exchange in Texas has long been a vision of mine. Today's announcement is the next logical step in the trajectory of business in Texas. The Texas Stock Exchange will ensure that businesses have access to capital and that market participants have more choices. Texas is the modern embodiment of the American dream, where everyone has the opportunity to succeed. And the Texas Stock Exchange will ensure more businesses have that opportunity.
So why is Texas creating their own stock exchange? Anybody have a guess? The reason why I believe that Texas is creating their own stock exchange is because they're going to secede from the Union. America is going to be balkanized. The conservative southern states are going to create their own union. Can we say confederacy? America is going to be split up. Ain't no other reason to have your own stock exchange. The stock exchange that's in New York been there forever. Companies were trading on the New York Stock Exchange. There's really no reason to have a Texas stock exchange. Companies were still making money on the New York Stock Exchange. The only reason that I can see to have a Texas stock exchange is that Texas is going to separate from the federal government. Africa was divided, split up, balkanized. Now Babylon is going to be broken up, divided, balkanized. America got them curses coming on her real swift and real fast. But hashtag ain't no 400-year prophecy. Jacob don't know what he's talking about. Jacob would just be happening knocking that ball out the park. I'm just saying. Anybody else have an idea or another excuse of why Texas would want their own stock exchange? Come on, I'm open for it. Somebody let me know. Somebody in finance, let me know. I don't know. All I can see is one reason. Maybe I'm missing something because it makes no sense to me. Other than you're creating your own government. Texas is going to be the center of this new federation or confederacy, whatever you want to call it. Texas is going to be the head. Texas is going to be the Washington, D.C. of the South. The president of the new confederacy is going to be running out of Texas. Didn't they not tell you that Texas was going to secede? Did they not make a movie called Civil War and who was behind it, who was in it? Did they not tell you all these times that this was coming, but y'all act like it's just for entertainment purposes? That's why I told y'all. We're out of time. Specifically the Gentiles, because Gentiles, I'm going to tell you, been warning y'all, y'all don't listen up. Them curses come in swift and heavy. Do you not see it? I wish I could find that video where the woman was talking about all them people who was stinking because they got deleted in that flood. I'm just asking, how many Gentiles no longer exist over there in Ukraine? How many soldiers did they lose? Over 500,000? How many people got taken out in Gaza? How many people taken out in the Middle East? What about the daily deletion of people and robbery and trafficking and all that stuff? I'm just saying, them curses flipping quick. Y'all thought we were lying when we said them curses were coming on y'all? How is it now paying higher prices for your food and not being able to pay for your gas and your electric in your car and missing payments? How is it not being the top one and getting your 401ks? It's over. I don't know what else to tell you. You better turn to the Most High. You better repent. And look, I know y'all don't like when we say you got to attach yourself to Israel, but look, let's do this. Go read the scriptures for yourself without the Eurocentric twist. Go read the scriptures for yourself and see if you don't have to attach to Israel to avoid all this. I'm just saying. I'm just being honest. I told you this is a truth ministry.
The centralized federal government of the United States will cease to exist in the near future, and instead you'll have states clumping together, creating many countries and governing themselves, probably along party lines like red and blue states. You're already starting to see this happen, but it's going to increase. This is according to a man named Stephen Schwartz, who is one of the most credible remote viewers on Earth, and he created this army of remote viewers, 3,000 plus of them, and did something called the 2050 Project. When he poured over that data, he found that...
Now, let me say this. I don't believe in remote viewing. I believe it's demonic. But my point is, showing this is that this is the plan of the enemy. This country is going to be divided. That's why the Texas Exchange exists. Okay? But let's continue.
That there is no centralized federal government in our near future. Instead, you're going to have more of a USSR format where the states secede along party lines and form these miniature countries and govern themselves. And they're doing this because, in large part, they don't trust the leadership and judgment of the federal government with their funds especially. So you're starting to see it now. We have our tax money basically taken from us, and the government spends it however they want, and usually not in ethical ways that we would approve of, but we don't get a say in it for some reason. Now the states, the same thing happens to them. You're starting to see FEMA come out just today saying they don't think they'll have enough funds left for the rest of hurricane season. Yet we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign countries to wage war and cause destruction and death and chaos. Now, we didn't sign up for this. I don't want my tax money used that way. And why do we have states in our own union, in our own country that are suffering, but we're sending hundreds of billions of dollars to foreign countries for war? Does this make any sense? No. So you're going to start seeing individuals stopping paying income tax, and you're going to start seeing states deciding to opt out of this currently involuntary system and start to come together, probably along party lines, and say, hey, you know what? Let's just do this ourselves. If we're already on our own, why are we giving money to this federal government so that they can squander it in all these ways and pay their buddies overseas? Why are we doing this? So they're going to stop doing it. Individuals are going to stop doing it. States are going to stop doing it. You're starting to see it already. This is not my opinion. This is based on thousands of remote viewers and tens of thousands of pages of data from those remote viewers showing that in the future, there is no centralized U.S. government. It's a USSR style format here in America. And I know people say that could never happen here. Well, they said it could never happen in the 80s to USSR. And now look at over there. Those used to be one mega country. And now it's a whole bunch of little countries. And it seems like that's the road we're headed down. And I can see why, because no one trusts what they're doing with our money. They're taking it, they're spending it. We don't have a say in it. Things aren't getting better. And when we need help here, they're like, you're SOL. And that doesn't make any sense to me. I don't think it makes sense to you. And I know it doesn't make sense to the states. And I think pretty soon, everyone's opting out of the system. The system will collapse. We'll create a better system in its place, probably a more organic, holistic system. Hopefully, that's what I see. That's what the remote viewers see. Tell me, what do you think?
All right. So what do I think? First of all, I don't believe in remote viewing. Okay. What I do believe is that this is a plan, right? This is a plan of the enemy, which is what? To balkanize America. Now, just as the West usually does, right? Just when they went to Yugoslavia and broke it up, right? That's what's happening here, right? The world governmental system, the leaders of the world governmental system is balkanizing or breaking up the United States. Why? Because, you know, you divide somebody, you can conquer them, right? Just as they divided us and they conquered us. They're dividing America so that they can separate and control the small pieces, right? So some people still gonna have their little pew-pews and some gonna be over here in Texas and stuff like that, but then others not gonna have their pew-pews because they're gonna be living in New York and California and stuff like that. And so there's gonna be, you know, these small little regional blocks, right? Some gonna still be under the old system, probably run by the Democrats. And then some are going to be under the new system. Maybe it's going to be run by Trump, or maybe it's going to be run by the governor of Texas, or maybe the governor of Florida. But this is how you balkanize and break up and control a nation that's too big, right? So you got to break down and break up that nation to control it. And that's what they're doing, right? And so everything he was saying makes sense. I don't believe none of the remote viewing BS, right? But everything he was saying makes sense, because guess what? I don't know if you know this. I believe I showed it in one of my old videos, previous videos, let's say, that Canada is already, a lot of people in Canada, they're not paying their taxes. They're not paying their mortgages. They're not paying their car notes. They didn't stop. Same thing gonna happen here. Why? Because as he said, we're sending billions to Ukraine, right? We're sending billions to the Middle East, right? People are going to be like, okay, I can't even eat. You want my taxes for what? You taking half already. Right? People are going to stop doing it. Why? Because they have no benefit. They pay into the system so long as they get a benefit. When they stop getting a benefit from the system, they stop supporting the system. That's what's going to happen. You ain't got no more time. Many sick of your forcing. So as you notice, we have all of this crazy stuff going on, right? Crazy stuff. We got all this crazy stuff happening. And then, you know, it's like you see the P. Diddy situation, right? Then you got Jaguar Wright coming after Jay-Z, which I'm like, good, because Jay-Z a devil worshiper to begin with. He need to get his tail put in jail along with Diddy, right? Him and his wife been silent Luciferians. They need to get exposed. But the Bible says everything that's hidden gonna be manifest, right? All this stuff is coming to pass. And if you notice, a lot of things that the Israelites been teaching and saying, guess what? People starting to wake up and teach and say the same thing. Now, they don't give us credit. They don't say I learned this from the Israelites. But it's being revealed. It's coming to pass. They waking up. But like I told them, I say it's too late. Y'all should have repented a long time ago. We would have healed Babylon, but she's not healed.
When you pray to Jesus, are you sure you know exactly what you're praying to? Because, I mean, when I pray, I know who I'm praying to, and I know for a fact that the church lies about everything. The word church itself goes back to the word kirk. It's a Scottish word. The word kirk goes back to the word Circe, and the word Circe goes back to the word Circe, which was a goddess. Okay, Circe was a Greek goddess that used to lure people into her house using enchantment and magic, turn them into animals after she slept with them, and then she would eat the animals. That's what the word church means, number one. Number two, the Pope, his hat, that's called a mitre, that hat. It's called a mitre. Do you know what that comes from? That comes from the word mitra in Latin, which comes from Mithraism, which is the ancient Roman worship of Mithraism, which was many gods, all their ancient deities and their gods. And the hat he wears, like I said, is called a mitre. Now, what's funny about that hat, too, is it looks an awful lot like a fish. And there's a reason for that. It's because it is resembling the very, very, very ancient Babylonian fish god called Dagon. Okay, so understand now, when you're praying to these things that the church, okay, or should I say Mother Circe wants you to be praying to, understand exactly what's going on. Understand that the people telling us to do these things are really sick and demonic. And they're the ones guiding us in prayer. So when you start to put that together, you start to realize that maybe, wow, what exactly am I praying to here? What have I been praying to my whole life? Because you know what? When I stopped with all that and found the real truth about God, the real truth, which is that we will never, ever know what he looks like, what he is, unless he shows himself. And I don't see that happening. We will never be able to fathom what he could even exist like. Never in a billion years. We are human. We don't know. We can't imagine it. Unless we see it happen, we just don't know. And anyone that tells you otherwise is lying to you. So I'm sorry when the church or Mother Circe comes up to me and says, here you go. Here's what God looks like. Here's exactly what he looks like. Now worship this image. I'm not doing it because I don't trust them, period. And anyone that does, I feel bad. I really do.
So if you notice, he comes to the awakening that the word church is from the word Circe, which is tied to pagans and all that stuff. And the whole paganism we see in Christianity, the whole paganism we see within Catholicism, he's correct. We've been saying that forever, right? But understand is that he don't understand what God looks like. That's what he said. Ain't nobody know what God looks like. Well, you wouldn't know who God was or Yah is unless he revealed himself to you. There's no way. And that's why he sent his son to reveal himself to you. Now, he don't make the distinction between the Jesus of Christianity and the Yeshua of the Bible, right? There's a difference. He don't understand that, and some people are going to make a big deal out of this, but truth is truth. He don't understand that Yeshua was what we call today a black man or a person of color or a Negro, right? He's part of the same tribe that we're from. Now, what they don't get is that because of the manipulation of their minds, now he has to go to himself. Now he has to find God himself. He has to identify himself who God is and not from the word. The word reveals who Yah is, right? It's like they said when Yeshua was teaching, he has to be from the Most High. Who can teach like this? Who can talk like this? I ain't never heard of him. That's what happens when you read the Bible, right? Nobody can deny that the scriptures, the word themselves, the word itself is divine. That the word itself is scriptural, that is from the Most High, right? Your spirit bears witness with the words. But see, now what they're going to do, they're going to find their own path. See, this is the scary part. This is the scary part. They now gonna have to find their own path. Why? Because first of all, they reject the law, statutes, and commandments, right? And remember what we said about the law, that the law is a light unto my path, right? The law teaches you what the will of the Most High is and leads you out of that dark place. See, now he's in that dark place. He didn't woke up. He found out that they've been teaching a paganized belief system, right? He found out that Constantine went ahead and said, look, anything that's what they call Jewish, that's what they call it, right? Or part of Judaism. Anything that's part of Judaism, the law, the feast days, the holy days, the Sabbath, all that, reject it. That's what Constantine said. That was the confessions of the Christians during the time of Constantine, and they implemented that and continued, right? That's historical. It is written. We didn't cover it. But this is why I'm telling you that it is over, right? I'm like, everything is here. The only thing that's not happening right now, family, is that we still here. We ain't leave yet. That's the only thing that I see. We ain't leave yet, but everything else is happening. Everything is happening. The perfect storm is set up. The perfect storm is set up. Now, I'm going to share this last article here. I'm not going to read it. You can read it on the screen because I don't want to get hit for it. Right? I don't want to get hit for it. But you can read it. Read it for yourself. Right on time, right, for 2025. Y'all can read that for yourself. Right on time for the Deagle report is another plague. Right? Coincidence, you say? Is it all coincidence? Ain't no more time left. I saw it coming over the years, and it was slowly increasing and increasing and increasing and encroaching on us. The system of the Antichrist, chaos, the destruction by the dragon, slowly, every year increased on us, especially after 2020. And what do you expect going to happen next year? All things remain the same, but your ports are closed. All things remain the same, but your country's at war. All things remain the same. You ain't going to get access to your medicine. You're not going to get access to surgery. Your electricity going to go out because ain't no ships coming in with oil. You ain't going to be able to replace the parts on your car, so you're going to be walking, which is why they're going to move you into the 15-minute cities. Isn't it perfect? Because you're going to run out of gas. The system's going to shut down. They're going to say, hey, here's a 15-minute city. Y'all could go here. All you got to do is scan your right hand and scan your forehead. All you got to do is take the lollipop and you can be a part of this beautiful 15-minute city. Now, you're not going to be able to leave unless you get permission. What do you mean? I can't go down to Louisiana, go visit my mama? I can't go visit my grandma and my cousins unless I get permission. Well, you know, we can't let everybody out because of climate change. We got to manage your carbon emissions. Now, all of this is going to happen, right? It's going to be that transition from this war that's about to kick off. And after a lot of people delete it, we're going to be slowly going into this new utopia that they trying to create, which is, it's not a utopia. We're going to go straight into the path of the future of the United Nations agreement that they just signed. All right on time. So y'all don't see it. Y'all don't see the pieces. All the pieces are together. All the pieces are in place. And most people don't know, don't even care. Next year, their world gonna be turned upside down. And they're gonna force your kids to eat a lollipop. They're gonna force you to get a lollipop unless you don't want to eat. You want to eat? Here, you better eat the lollipop. These channels, they're gonna be controlled by next year. I doubt they're gonna be up. Because there's going to be global chaos, food shortages, a day's wage for a loaf of bread. Hell hath enlarged herself. A lot of people are going to be gone. You don't see them biblical prophecies coming to pass? I'm seeing them. I'm seeing every single thing coming to pass. The only thing I don't see yet is the 10 taking control. I don't see the Antichrist yet. I don't see us leaving yet, even though I think it's near. And them curses flipping on the Gentiles like super quick. They ain't gonna know what hit them. They ain't gonna understand why. Just like with us in our captivity. And the Bible say when they come and ask why all these curses on us, tell them their ancestors sinned against me. We ain't know. We say, why them folks hate us? Why the white folks hate us? Why the Gentiles hate us? Why every country we go to hate us? Why? We ain't know we had them curses on us. They ain't gonna know either. They're gonna have food shortages. They ain't gonna know it's the curse. They're gonna start losing their hair. They ain't gonna know it's the curse. They're gonna be losing their kids, going into captivity. They ain't gonna know it's the curse. They're gonna be like, why all this evil on us? And they're gonna be in it for twice as long. That is scary. They made shoes out of us, they made clothing out of us, and they're gonna get double. They're gonna get food that ain't food. And they're gonna still be in the system where they can't get healthy because ain't nothing real. And they're gonna be living in a virtual reality because things in the real world are gonna be so chaotic. They might not have chains on their ankles like our ancestors, but they're gonna have chains regardless. I know they don't want to hear it. They ain't gonna hear it. Because they're gonna say we speaking, and specifically me, skin doctrine. And they're gonna listen to the apologists who say nothing about the judgment. They're gonna listen to the urban apologists who don't tell them they under a curse. They're gonna listen to the urban apologists who don't tell them why Russia and them fighting and why these plagues and why the food shortages is because of what y'all did to his people. Go read Joel chapter 3. We've been telling y'all that forever. Do you think we be lying? I told you this is a truth ministry. Telling the truth ain't always good for the ears. Telling the truth don't make you popular. Oh, here come that prophet. Oh, I hate when he come. All he speak is gloom and doom. I ain't calling myself a prophet. I'm just talking about the Bible. All he speak is judgment. Is that not what they supposed to do? Try to get you right. Turn back to the Most High so you don't be judged. Is that not what they're supposed to do? But I want to hear good things. I want my ears itched. I want my ears itched. So look, fam, if y'all want to support this ministry, you can by becoming a patron. Now, Cash App, even though it's still, and you could do Ko-fi and PayPal. You could still do Cash App if you want to, but we're not really promoting Cash App because they be messing around. They be rejecting transactions a lot of times. They be playing games. That's why Brother Karras had to get rid of them too. Things they be a changing, it ain't gonna be the same. Y'all out of time. I'm talking to the Gentiles. Israel know already. We out. Deuces. Also, fam, don't forget. Also, go get Brother Karras' book.
The Rise of Africa, the continent, the diaspora, and BRICS explores the relationships that are affecting the global economy right now. This book explores the relationships of the African diaspora's influence on the African continent and why this is important in stabilizing relationships with an understanding of how BRICS impacts the future, good or bad. You can order your copy of The Rise of Africa today on Amazon.com.
Well, fam, that's all I got. I don't know what else to tell you. Fast, pray, stock up, get some food, some water, and get some pew-pews next year, in my opinion. And I hope I'm wrong. Ain't gonna be nice. Peace and blessings, Israel. Your captivity is ending. Love you with the love of the Messiah. And don't forget to support the Dry Bones Project.